My name is Jordan Pouncey, and today I will be presenting on Mary McLeod Bethune. Born on July 10th, 1875, in Maysville, South Carolina, to Samuel and Patsy McLeod, Mary McLeod Bethune was number 15 of 17 children. The family worked for the for Patsy's former slave owner on the plantation in which she worked before slavery ended. Both of her parents were former slaves. By the time she was 9 years old, Mary could pick up to 250 pounds of cotton per day. Though this was true, this never took away from her love for education. From the start, she was very interested in educating herself and learning. In 1888, she earned a scholarship to the Scotia Seminary School for Negro girls in Concord, North Carolina. And after graduating from there, she attended Moody Bible College in Chicago, Illinois. Pictured on the right is the home that Mary McLeod was born in, and that after graduating from missionary school, she was not able to find a church to work at as a missionary. From this, she began her life as an educator. While working in South Carolina as a teacher, she met the man she would marry, Albertus Bethune, in 1898. A year later, she had her one and only son, Albert. When married to Mary McLeod Bethune, always had a calling to education. The records show that she even learned how to read at the age of 4. In 1904, after the Bethunes moved to Daytona Beach, Florida, she would go on to open the Daytona Beach Literary and Industrial School for training Negro girls. The school would soon merge with the nearby all-boys Cookman Institute and would go on to become what we know as the Bethune-Cookman University. At first, the school offered domestic science courses as well as business and liberal arts courses. Bethune and the Institute believed in providing students with the tools to support themselves while they simultaneously strove toward better opportunities. Probably my most favorite thing about Mary McLeod Bethune is the local activism that she did in the state of Florida, as well as opening up the Daytona Beach Literary and Industrial School, the school that we now know as Bethune-Cookman University. She was heavily involved in the community of Daytona Beach and just Florida as a whole. When she arrived in Daytona Beach, this city was severely segregated, and she worked to uplift the black community by helping sign black people up to vote. It got to the point where the KKK was not very happy with this, and they actually marched onto the campus of Bethune-Cookman College and tried to intimidate Bethune in her efforts, but she was able to stand up to them and make them go away. My most favorite fact about Mary McLeod Bethune is, Daytona Beach was a whites only beach, and because of this, Bethune, she was able to secure a strip of oceanfront property south of New Smyrna Beach for local black people to enjoy the Florida beaches. Now, the reason this is my favorite piece of information about Mary McLeod Bethune is because this is the beach that I grew up going to and that I still go to today. She was she was able to befriend influential white people who came down to Daytona for vacations in the summer, and she was able to get them to invest in Bethune-Cookman University and sit on the board of trustees. As an activist, Mary McLeod Bethune was a part of many different women's organizations and clubs. She formed the State Federation of Colored Women's Clubs to fight and end segregation in schools and improve health care for black children. As well, she was elected to the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs in 1924, a club that was founded after James Jackson attacked the morality of black women. She also founded the National Council of Negro Women in 1896, which was the first black national organization in the United States. In the NCNW, they helped black women get into the military. They fought racism and fought for housing and jobs. They sponsored the SS Harriet Tubman, which was the first U.S. ship named after black women. And overall, they fought for the advancement of black women. As well as educating and activism, Mary McLeod Bethune served as an advisor to several U.S. presidents. Most importantly, or probably her biggest role, was with the FDR administration, where he named her director of Negro Affairs of the National Youth Administration. She held that position until 1944. She was also a member or the leader of FDR's unofficial black cabinet. She was also the only woman of color at the first founding meeting of the United Nations in 1945, as she was appointed by President Harry S. Truman. More on her civil rights movement. In 1940, she was elected vice president of the NAACP, and she held that position until her passing in 1955. She was persistent in signing black people up to vote in the community of Daytona Beach, and because she wanted to help elect politicians that would tend to the needs of black voters. Having done a lot of local activism and national activism, she kind of laid the foundation for what we would know as the civil rights movement. She was really interested in lifting up black women because she thought in lifting up black women, it would uplift the whole black community. And her legacy. She was the first black woman to have a national monument dedicated to her in Washington, D.C. Bethune-Cookman University continues to be one of the premier HBCUs in the country. And her home in Daytona Beach is now a National Historic Landmark recognized by the National Park Service in 1975. As well as her home being preserved, a lot of her writings are still preserved within the home, as we learned earlier in the course. And pictured here is the home located on the property of Bethune-Cookman University, and it is still preserved today.